So, I am here today to do a book review of this book, King's Dark Tidings, Book 3, The Legends of Ang, by Kel Kade. Like I said, this is the third book of the series, so if you haven't read the first two books, Free the Darkness and Reign of Madness, you should stop watching this, because I will not hold off on spoilers. Yeah, and I'm pretty bad at talking to the camera, and so I have prepared a pre-recorded video of me drawing for you to watch while you listen to my beautiful voice reading off my notes. I will be drawing a dragon because I like dragons and for no other reason. So, enjoy! So the book picks up right where the last one ended, with Reskin and the gang and a bunch of foreigners that would have ended up becoming slaves if they'd stayed in Ashai on a ship. Reskin is worrying about... No, he's contemplating. I don't think Reskin can worry. He's contemplating how he is going to provide a safe place for the people he's become responsible for. His friends, and especially Frisha, are grappling with what it means that Reskin is the true king of Ashai. Frisha gets a bit of a reality check from now forward as to who Reskin is as a person and as the new position he holds. If you remember, both she and Tam had some rather inaccurate views about Reskin, with Tam saying things like, "He's like a big bear, scary on the outside, but all soft on the inside." I don't remember the exact quote, but that's about it. But back to Reskin. He goes to Chenaria himself to get a haven for the people on the ship before it arrives. On the way, he meets a fairy, or he meets a fae, who informs him that Kadean is a much bigger threat than was previously realized. There is some raven business, magical shenanigans, and a lot of expansion of the world. A good thing about this book is that Reskin finally gets problems he can't solve effortlessly. There are actual creatures from now on forward that are in and out of his league. Here endeth the spoiler-free part of this video. From now on, there will be pure fangirling about everything I like about it. But no spoilers from further books. Let the cat out of the bag. The most adorable example of Reskin's education and social skills failing him. I'm going to play the audio from that scene and pray I don't get copyrighted.
Tam's eyes were drawn to the bag that seemed to be moving of its own accord at Reskin's side. "What's in the bag?" Tam asked. "A cat," Reskin said. Tam looked at him quizzically. "Why do you have a cat in a bag?" Reskin looked at Tam sideways. "It was easier to carry this way." The cat screeched and jerked against its confines before settling down again. Reskin glanced at the bag and wondered why the little beast had suddenly become agitated when they boarded the ship. Tam chuckled and said, "Yeah, but, it doesn't seem very happy. Don't you think we should let it out?" Reskin looked around at the chaos of the ship's crew and passengers. "You want to let the cat out of the bag here?" "Let the cat out of the bag about what?" Tyrion asked as he sauntered up to them. Reskin frowned. "What are you talking about?" "That is what I want to know," Tyrion said, narrowing his eyes suspiciously. Tam's gaze bounced between the two as they stared at each other in mutual confusion. Finally, he said, Rez has a cat in a bag. I was trying to find out why. The cat chose that moment to protest its predicament again. Reskin kept a firm grip as the bag lurched, a violent motion that was accompanied by an angry yowl. Tyrion's brows rose. You have an actual cat in a bag? What other kind of cat would I have? Reskin asked as he passed the two and headed toward his quarters. Tyrion and Tam shared a look and then followed. Why do you have a cat? Tyrion asked. You have a cat? Malcius asked, nearly colliding with them on the stairs. Reskin sighed. Yes, I have a cat, and I'm taking it to my quarters. But why? Tam and Tyrion blurted simultaneously. So it will not get injured on the deck, he said as though it was obvious. He held onto the bag as he searched the room for hidden dangers. Reskin, what is the purpose of the cat? Malcius asked. Reskin scowled at his friend. It is a cat, Malcius. Its purpose is to be a cat. Fine, but what is your purpose in having the cat? Tyrion asked with bemused frustration. Do I need a purpose? Reskin asked. Everyone in Chenaria has a cat. Why is it odd that I possess one? Reskin was irritated that they were interrogating him about his decision to bring the cat. He had no idea why he had claimed the little beast. It had been an impulse. Reskin paused when he noticed the mood between his friends had suddenly lifted. They were smiling. Why were they smiling? Malcius remarked, I did not know you were a cat person, Rez. A what? He asked. Malcius and Tyrion snickered as Tam said, someone who, likes cats. There is a name for such a person? Reskin would never understand Outworlders' obsessions with frivolous details. He shook his head. I did not say I liked it. It is a practical animal. A dog is practical, Tyrion argued. Cats are just annoying. One of my aunts had a cat that she adored. Then my cousin got one of those fancy, colourful birds. The cat ate the bird, and my cousin was so angry that she kicked it out of the third-floor window. The cat lived, but it did have a limp ever after. It hated my cousin. He paused upon noticing Reskin's expression. What? Tyrion's story had ignited within Reskin feelings of anger, although he did not know why he should care. It was just an animal, and it was not even his. Still, he felt it was wrong to punish an animal for doing what it was naturally inclined to do. The cat had not been malicious, just hungry. He was reluctant to express the undesired emotions, so he struck upon Tyrion's other remark.
And then Kai and Shazar enters the conversation, and it gets even better, with them all arguing about whether dogs are better than cats. And then at the end, Reskin feels a bit sad. He doesn't know that it's sad, but he feels sad and just thinks, wow, I've missed so much. This topic is something that's breached both nobles and commoners, and yet I haven't been a part of the conversation. I didn't even know there was a conversation. And I also feel like at the end there, when Tyrion tells them about the cat that got kicked, and Reskin just gets instinctively mad about it, because he is against animal cruelty, even if he doesn't know it. So he then tries to rationalize why it is he thinks that's wrong, instead of just accepting, yeah, I have a moral compass that doesn't work on logic, it just works. And I cannot express deeply enough how happy I am that Reskin now has a cat. For no reason that he can discern, he just decided to have a cat. And he named that cat Cat, which is the most Reskin thing to do ever. Why give this creature a name? It doesn't need one. It's just Cat. Imagine how funny it would have been if Reskin hadn't named Pride in the beginning and he just said horse all the time. I don't know why I find that so funny, but I do. Yeah. My favorite moments in this book comes from the characters still in Shy and from Farson. So Farson arrives to Kyle from a ship full of people who have either wants to trade or seek refuge. Reskin recognizes him through his disguise immediately, of course, and they start questioning each other about the other's motives. Farson goes on and on about how horrible and immoral Reskin is. And he is doing that while trying to trade the people on his ship for his niece. He is basically trying to practice slavery while accusing Reskin of being a monster. And just like in the last book, I am mentally screaming at Farson to just hug him for Christ's sake. I just want someone who knows what Reskin has done to love him anyway. Frisha doesn't count. She was in love with her own delusions. Tam knew, but I don't think he truly understands it. It's like when you hear 1 million people died in this tragedy, and you think, well, that's sad, that's a lot of people who died. But when you see pictures and hear the stories about it, you are horrified. I don't think Tam has truly come to the understanding part of what Reskin has done. But Farson, he knows. He's seen it, he knows. And yeah, I just think Reskin is short on people who will love him no matter what they find out about him. I mean, I think Kai could pretty much get over any horrible thing Reskin has done, but I wouldn't say that Kai loves Reskin. It's more of a employee relationship between them. And if Farson could just see that Reskin isn't playing mind games with him and really genuinely have good sides to him, I think Farson could be one of those select few. And now for my favorite storyline of the book. Adston and the gang breaking people out of prison. My top 2 favorite characters are Reskin and Kai. For the third spot, there is high competition between Adston, Markham, and Fjerdan. What makes this my favorite plotline of the book is because all those 3 minor characters are the stars of it. It starts with Fjerdan meeting Adston and Attica to ask for funds to get back to the duchy. The Raven has given Adston and Attica an order of trying to recruit Fjerdan. Yes, English is not my first language. To that cause, Aston has acquired a sculpture of an extremely grotesque and extremely beautiful woman. He tells a story about the culture it's from, about how they worshipped people who were of both extremes. Attica enters, and by the time it's over, Fjerdan has pledged his fealty to the Raven. Did Fjerdan get manipulated? Yes. But it was a treat this person like a human being for the first time since they got disfigured and they'll want to be friends with us situation. I was going, "Aw, good for him. He's finally getting the respect and recognition he deserves." And the exchange between Fjerdan and Adston right before the prison break, that made me start shipping them. Something I haven't done before in this series. And you need to know that I am a major shipper, so it says something about how the romantic relationships are written in this book that this is the first one I've shipped. I mean, I thought Iseria and Palace were cute, but we all know what happened with that. And when the prison break has started, I really liked the scenes between Benny and Cillian Jabai and the conversations they had. And then later, when Cillian says something like, "He reminds me of my son, of Palace." And you just realize, this guy doesn't know that his son is dead. He still thinks that Palace is alive and well somewhere. And he just sees him in this kid. And you just think, how is he going to look at Benny when he finds out what happened to his own son? Yeah, I mean, that really hit me hard. And then they get to Reskin's fort. And I seriously had tears in my eyes when Markham and Cillian reunited. I mean, this is not the first time I've read the book, but I got emotional over that. And I kind of like how Adston acts when he gets to the fort and interacts with actual nobles. Because he has been putting on a show like he is a noble for his street friends, colleagues, whatever. And I like how hesitant and vulnerable Adston gets when he's at a dinner table with actual nobles. And he doesn't really feel like he belongs. He feels like an imposter. And I just really like the change. I don't want him to be like that all the time, but it's nice to just see a different side of him. Because he has never really been uncomfortable, or he has been in control. Even when the Raven was around, he still held his ground. And I just like it when characters get to show different sides to them. And then one final thing from that scene is when Adston says, "My enemy's enemy is still my enemy," interrupts Markham. And I have never heard someone say that before. And now I wonder why. Because it is true. Having the same enemy doesn't make you friends, which is why that saying is typically followed by the friends fighting each other once the enemy is gone. I mean, think of Soviet and America after World War II. Oh, my enemy's enemy is my friend. No, my enemy's enemy is my ally, not friend. Because once the enemy is gone, we are no longer friends. I wonder if that is foreshadowing of how things is going to turn out when Kadean is gone. Because Kel is really good at putting in those little details that doesn't make sense till 3 books later. It's hard for me to say which book is my favorite in this series. I love all the Raven business in book 1, especially the Black Hall. Chef's kiss on that one. Book 2 added a lot of great characters, and the True King plot was great. The tournament was great. Book 2 was really good. This book has the burden of being the transition book between the simple and slow pace of the first 2 and the complicated fast pace of the rest of the series. It is not my favorite, but it is still a great read. 5 stars.